Hello, beautiful beings. I find it beautifully ironic that in an era of instant access to all the information our hearts could desire, we find ourselves as an international collective relatively confused and utterly uncertain as to what's to come. And so I wanted to remind you that you of all people, you know how this will end. It's because you've seen it before. In fact, you've lived it before. For many of you at Evolve, you've been with us so long that perhaps you forgot what it was like at the beginning. So let me remind you that it sucked. It was painful. It was uncomfortable. And it was a time where you were forced really, truly to stop, notice, and do something different. And that meant, of course, for you that you started care. And in your first few entrainments, you got to experience more deeply what was happening in your body. You got to experience what was happening in your life. And you got to see what was working and what wasn't working. And then you received more care. And from that place, you began to breathe, to take inventory at such a level that you could then see what was possible. And you began in those moments to build yourself up from bones. And that was healing. And that is what our world will do. We've essentially experienced as a universal consciousness a sense of the car crash, of an outside force that came careening into haphazardly and headlong all of the structures of our society, all of our senses of self, and it is painful. It is so violently uncomfortable, and it is entirely uncertain. And so I wanted to remind you that from that place and space, there is a poignant power in the pause, in starting care and getting on the proverbial table, which really means now as a community and as a culture, quarantine. It means pausing, coming out of fight or flight, and just like in our body, being present with the pain. And then we breathe. And we begin to see the places, spaces, structures, behaviors, perceptions in our world that are working for us. We get to reconnect to who and what we love. And from those things, we get to begin building ourselves up from bones together as a collective. We get an opportunity from this great and expansive instability to build something new, to emerge out of the other side of this quarantine with a sense of coherence so that we can co-create a new vision and a new version of humanity.